Thank you so much for having me. It's a great honor to be your guest, to be the recipient of your award on behalf of 1 billion refugees and migrants across the globe, and also to be talking about important issues today. I was born in Afghanistan, in Kabul in 1983, during the Afghan-Soviet conflict. I have only two happy memories from the first 5 years. One was being taken to a local park by my mother for a treat of an ice cream and to have a play. And another one is when my father knelt down to give me a big kite and then for him to suddenly disappear. That's how my childhood can be summarized in times when there were losses and reunions. After 5 years, for us to be together, and my father wasn't hiding from the military service, so for us to just be living between ourselves and for my parents to be present, we moved to Pakistan as refugees. The normal borders were closed, so we had to take a very dangerous route through mountains, valleys and rivers that took us 7 days and 7 nights. And we did that at night time to escape military attacks, although we did come under the attack 3 times and we miraculously survived those attacks. We landed in Peshawar, Pakistan, where we stayed in a refugee camp for 2.5 years, like millions of other Afghans at the time who migrated as well. In the refugee camp, although we were safe from bombs, but the conditions were inhumane, like many other refugee camps that we see across the globe. We, as a family of 8, we started living in a mudroom, which was later upgraded to, as a family of 8, we started living in a tent, which was later upgraded to a mudroom with temperatures rising up to 45 degrees Celsius. Limited access to food and clean water. Most of us suffered from malaria. Again, something that we see in refugee camps actually across the globe. And after about 3 months, I started coughing. I was coughing to the extent that I even brought up blood and I was very weak. I couldn't even walk. And I was diagnosed by a local doctor with having tuberculosis, which is a life-threatening disease. My experience with tuberculosis was something that inspired me to get interested in medicine. I got treated by a very kind doctor who was treating me for more than a year. Every 3 months giving me medicine on one hand, on the other hand was trying to encourage me to not give up on the fight. On my last visit, he gave me a stethoscope and a large medical textbook, and he said, "Son, one day you will become a doctor." I was very enthusiastic about what was going on. So after 2.5 years, we went back to Afghanistan. In Kabul, we stayed for a year before the civil war started, and that was a street-by-street fight, because of which we had to flee from one part of the country to another, again hiding in cellars from daily rockets, bombs and shellings. And it's in those cellars where most of my education happened, self-education happened, through these books that my father and I would buy from the streets in Kabul, lying, would bring them, and I will self-teach myself. I didn't have any hope, but the only thing I knew was that giving up on hope was not the option. I migrated to, my parents sent me to the UK on my own as a child refugee, age 15. And I landed there in 1999 with no family support, about $100 in my pocket, and hardly any education. But
were you on your own during that time?
I was on my own.
Completely on your own, no guidance, no nothing, no caregivers?
No caregivers. Wow. And it was the time when Afghanistan was going to a civil war. The whole family couldn't come out. It was only one person, myself, who came to the UK. In a way, I was smuggled because the official routes were not available. They're still not available, by the way, actually, across the globe when we talk about conflict zones. The official routes for people who are fleeing conflict and persecution is not there, sadly. So that was my new life in the UK, starting with zero on finances in terms of the family support and not having education. But what I brought with me was that hope to find safety somewhere, and also with the dream for me to become a doctor. I didn't know how. On one hand, on the other hand, I did bring in the scars of conflict with me in the form of post-traumatic stress with me.